metal dealer. His name was Mr. Abdul. He had a reputation for being a miser and a greedy man. He always wanted more wealth, but he was not willing to work hard to get it. One day, Mr. Abdul heard about wealth rituals from a friend. The friend had been successful through the wealth ritual of Bubra Cage. He decided to consult a shaman called Zakar to perform the wealth ritual on the advice of his friend. The shaman's advice was that Mr. Abdul would have to sacrifice someone as an offering. Mr. Abdul was reluctant at first, but he eventually agreed to the terms. He explained that his child could be sacrificed to make the broken cage become rich. Also performed was the Pesugihan ritual. The shaman laid down conditions to be met. These included a burial shroud and other offerings to be kept in a room in his house. Soon, Mr. Abdul was performing the rituals based on these requirements for 6 months. Finally, due to an unusual illness, Mr. Abdul's child died. Mr. Abdul realized this was a sacrifice from the Kandan Bubra ritual. She paid the shaman a large sum of money. Afterwards, Mr. Abdul did a bit of renovation work on his house. Strangely, the renovations continued even after the house was finished. After the ritual, Mr. Abdul became very wealthy in his village. He has a lot of money and possessions. Since he often renovates his house every month, the villagers are suspicious of his strange behavior. Once, when he was very rich, Mr. Abdul dreamed of meeting his son. The son told him that he had asked Mr. Abdul to stop the ritual of seeking wealth. Abdul also awoke from his dream. He was scared. He knows that he has made a big mistake in the whole of his life. Many neighbors also came to Mr. Abdul to ask for money. But Mr. Abdul explained that he was practicing Pesugihan, so the locals suggested that he stop immediately. There are fears that this is a major risk to the campus community. Mr. Abdul decided to meet the shaman at the suggestion of several residents. His request to the shaman was for an end to his supernatural acquisition of wealth. However, the shaman was in denial. He said that because he was already bound to a spirit, the wealth ritual could not be stopped. Sad and regretful, Abdul returned home. He knows that for the rest of his life he will have to live with the sin of the sacrifice of his child. Mr. Abdul became a different person from that moment on. He became a person who was not in his right mind. His wealth is slowly being depleted. It is not from legitimate sources. Mr. Abdul's situation did not concern his family or neighbors. Over time, Mr. Abdul has been living alone. His house was destroyed by residents who felt it was haunted. Mr. Abdul also lives in a small shack in the middle of the forest. His life is a chaos without the mercy of his neighbors. Now, after performing the ritual of the broken cage wealth, Mr. Abdul's life is shattered.